Much. So, welcome back, everyone. The next item on our agenda is consideration of public petitions, and the first one is PE. The first petition for consideration is PE1548, National Guidance on Restraint and Seclusion in Schools, lodged by Beth Morrison. The petition is calling on the Scottish Parliament to urge the Scottish Government to introduce national guidance on the use of restraint and seclusion in all schools, and full details of the petition's aims are provided in members' papers. The committee last considered this petition at our meeting on the 4th of May, where the committee noted that a working group had been developing new human rights-based, non-statutory guidance to minimise the use of restraints in schools. And in May, the committee agreed to write to the Cabinet Secretary for Education and Skills to seek an update on timescales for the publication of the guidance. The Cabinet Secretary responded and stated that the draft guidance would be put to public consultation. The consultation was launched on the 21st of June and closed yesterday. The Cabinet Secretary noted that the draft guidance focuses on the preventative support that should be in place to minimise restraint and provides detailed advice and safeguards that should be followed if restraint is used. It outlines restraints that should never be used on children and young people, such as prone and other high-risk physical restraints, and it clarifies that, should any form of restraint be used, it should be recorded. The Cabinet Secretary also explained that the Scottish Government will consider placing the guidance on a statutory basis should the non-statutory guidance fail to have the desired effect. In response to the Cabinet Secretary's letter, the petitioner stated that while some of the guidance is good, she is extremely concerned that unless the guidance is statutory, nothing will change for the staff or children affected. She also expressed her disappointment that the draft guidance does not have a dedicated section for children with additional support needs. She points out that children with additional support needs and disabilities are disproportionately affected by physical intervention. Can I ask members for any comments on the petition? First, we'll go to Graham Day, please.
Thank you, Convener, and I should acknowledge that the petitioner is a constituent of mine and pay tribute to her because it's her tenacity which has ensured that quite significant strides have been made in this regard, and she's achieved a very great deal in her efforts. We have guidance, which she, I understand, has helped shape, and it's now, I think, time for it to be allowed to be implemented and a period to bed in. So I think, having said all of that, I think the best course of action, or the appropriate course of action, would be to close the petition with a couple of caveats. One would be that, recognising that the Scottish Government has indicated that there will be a kind of monitoring of the successful rollout or otherwise of this, and that it does not rule out this being put in a statutory footing in future, we should perhaps write to the Government asking for an understanding of immediate next steps and how it will monitor and assess successful implementation or otherwise. And that perhaps additionally, as a committee, we might consider in our legacy paper suggesting to the successor committee that it might wish to return to this subject in the next Parliament to carry out a piece of work, perhaps, if that's necessary, to review whether the guidance has served its purpose and the footing that it is proposed to be on has proven adequate.